Online security and protection of your privacy have never been more important than they are now in 2023, be it from hackers who are always getting more and more advanced and always one step ahead of law enforcement, or from law enforcement and the state itself, which is a sad thing to say, but on the other hand, people have the right to privacy regardless of who it is that wants to see their innermost thoughts and conversations with individuals and their beliefs. So today on Don't Talk TV, I'm going to return to something I talked about way back at the beginning of Don't Talk TV, one of the first episodes, some ways to protect your privacy, and specifically why this particular lawyer uses Signal for his instant messaging, Protonmail for mail, and cash whenever possible when it comes to purchasing things. And as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and turn on your notifications, because if we reach 10,000 subscribers by the end of 2023, I will grow back the handlebar mustache that you see in the nice little caricature of me on every video. Hello, my name is Nicholas Wansbutter. I'm a lawyer in Stratford, Ontario, Canada, and welcome to Don't Talk TV. So today on Don't Talk TV, I'm going to talk about 3 important things that I do to protect my own privacy and the integrity of my data, the security of my information and my identity. And so I've taken one from 3 main areas that people use: instant messaging, email, and transactions. So that's why we'll be looking at Signal, Protonmail, and cash, as opposed to a digital currency of your choice. As I said in the preamble, unfortunately, it isn't just criminals that people may want to keep their information private from. State surveillance has never been as ubiquitous or far-reaching as it is today. It's also worth considering what sorts of things our leaders consider, quote, unacceptable, unquote, and the fact that there are severe consequences for holding certain views. We live in a time when the Prime Minister of our country says things like this.
Mais il y a aussi des gens qui sont farouchement opposés à la vaccination.
Qui sont extrémistes.
Qui croient pas dans la science, qui sont souvent misogynes, souvent racistes aussi. C'est un petit groupe, mais qui prend de la place. Et là, il faut faire un choix en tant que leader, en tant que pays. Est-ce qu'on...
Now, that video was from back in 2022, and it's been largely forgotten by a lot of people. It's, in fact, very difficult to find that clip. I had to pull that clip from one of my own videos in order to refresh my memory on what Prime Minister Trudeau said. But I think that's a very chilling reminder when he says, do we tolerate these people? Now, some would try and defend him, saying, oh, well, he's only talking about misogynists and racists. Well, who likes misogynists and racists? But of course, the definition is always the most important thing in law and elsewhere. And I think many viewers with me would agree that Prime Minister Trudeau's definition of racism and misogyny is so broad that it could capture a lot of innocent people, and specifically Christians, other people who are skeptical of the COVID-19 vaccine, and people of certain ethnic and racial heritage, proud of their heritage, when, according to mainstream thought, you're not allowed to be proud of that heritage. In 2023, it can be very dangerous just to have a basic conversation with a trusted confidant. Therefore, when you're having a conversation, you want it to be secure. So I use Signal, and the number one reason I use Signal is because time and again, when I'm involved in cases reviewing disclosure where police have done extractions on people's cell phones or production orders from telecommunications companies, they never ever get anything from Signal. I just recently had a case a few months ago. Unfortunately, it's not a reported decision, so I can't show you the judge's decision where he went through this. I'm legally not allowed to show you the actual disclosure itself on screen, but I can tell you that the accused person had 3 messaging software on their phone: Facebook Messenger, Wickr, and Signal. Now, Facebook Messenger, that's basically skywriting. It's not secure or private whatsoever. So, I mean, that goes without saying, in my view. Don't use Facebook Messenger unless what you're saying is something that you're very comfortable with CSIS, RCMP, hackers, anyone knowing about, and of course Meta itself. Now, Wicker is presented as something very similar to Signal. It's encrypted, it has disappearing messages, and according to articles I've read, the claim is that Wicker has a shredding system that completely destroys messages. However, in this particular case, there were messages left over from Wicker. I would say maybe about 1 out of every 10 messages the police were able to extract, and also the extraction report showed how many messages had been sent. So you could see there were 5 unreadable messages, then a message where we got the complete text, and then 10 unreadable messages, a message where you got the complete text. Whereas Signal, they got absolutely no data whatsoever. So you have no idea whether that person sent no messages ever on Signal, thousands, dozens. The information was simply not there. So that leads me to believe, from my experience, that Signal is one of the most secure, and more secure than Wicker, with all due respect to that. Now, of course, Wicker is also one that has paid plans, so maybe if you're on a paid plan, it's more secure. I'm not sure. That takes me then into email, which is the slower way of having discussions with people, but there are also encryption options. And personally, I use and prefer, and I pay for to support them, Protonmail. Protonmail end-to-end encrypted. Of course, that only works if you're emailing with someone else from Protonmail. But the thing I really like about Protonmail is that even Protonmail itself cannot get into your emails, and it's actually very important that you never forget your email address, because if you do, you'll never be able to get into your emails again yourself. Now, I know some people are skeptical of Protonmail. They say that the designers have something to do with CERN. I'm not sure about that, but really in today's milieu, who doesn't have something of concern? I mean, people that tell me that about why they don't want to use Protonmail, they're on the other hand using Gmail, which is owned by Google, which is way worse, and who again is reading all your emails. I mean, using Gmail, I've described it previously, it's like sending a postcard. That's how secure it is. Google is reading everything you're sending on there. Now, finally, when it comes to transactions and purchasing things, I prefer cold, hard cash whenever possible. One of the reasons is no one, in my view, needs to know what I'm spending my money on. If you're using Interac or credit card, the RCMP and CSIS, they know all those transactions, and so do non-law enforcement, and it's used for various forms of marketing and supposedly tailoring things to your tastes. But also, cash still works when there's no electricity. Cash still works when the internet's down, which you may remember a couple of years ago, we had no internet for almost a week across Canada. Only those with cash were able to buy gas or groceries or anything else. Cash will be around if an EMP goes off, and perhaps most importantly, cash is very friendly to small businesses, because smaller businesses have a hard time paying for all the different transaction fees. Really small businesses, people just starting out, may not even have a machine, which is actually better. That's the type of person I like to deal with. And then it's just between you, between private individuals, as it should be, in my view. I always remember the internet shutdown or internet failure and people not being able to buy things. Also, remember what happened at the Freedom Convoy, where the government of Canada froze the bank accounts of people who held, quote, unacceptable views, unquote, i.e. those who had supported the Freedom Convoy. There's stories of people who donated as little as $5 to $10 who had their banking shut down. That is, if you don't use cash and all of your assets are in some digital format, then you're that much easier to shut down. Now, people talk about cryptocurrency. That's a different thing. I'm not going to get into cryptocurrency other than to say that if the internet gets shut down or the power goes out, you're not going to have access to your crypto wallet either, whereas you will still have your cash. So that's why I like cash. Of course, this video is not legal advice. These are just my personal views and some of my personal experiences. If you need legal advice, call a lawyer. You can call another lawyer or myself. My contact information is listed below. If you have show topics you'd like to see me cover, please leave a recommendation or a question or a comment in the comment section, or email the email address listed below. And if you found this video at all interesting, helpful, or informative, please consider liking, sharing, subscribing, and following us on social media. And again, remember my offer that if we get to 10,000 subscribers on YouTube by the end of 2023, I will grow back my handlebar mustache.